Welcome to a presentation by Bimser International. In this video, you will learn about Ensemble, our process, strategy, and performance management system. These are the topics I'll be covering in this presentation. First, I'll explain what Ensemble is and what can be done with this tool. Then you will learn about why Ensemble is the perfect tool for managing process and performance and some of the benefits it provides. After that, I'll talk about the modules offered in Ensemble, and finally some of our references. Let me start by explaining what Ensemble is. Ensemble is a process, performance, and strategy management system. Process management constitutes a common practice among organizations because it helps companies improve their performance. With Ensemble, you can measure and model processes, activities, or resources, as well as track the performance of their inputs and outputs. In addition, Ensemble can be used as a balanced scorecard tool and also to manage the budget of the company. Ensemble is one of the 4 products Bimser develops. They can work standalone or they can be integrated to each other to offer combined solutions. In the case of Ensemble, we can integrate it with EBA, our enterprise content management platform, but also with QDMS, our quality management system. By doing that, we could, for example, obtain the HR information from the related product or provide a document management platform. Ensemble can leverage EBA's workflow capabilities to increase the efficiency of the processes, and it can also manage the corrective and preventive actions or the risk management activities present in QDMS as processes. Just like the rest of our products, Ensemble can also be integrated with other ERP or CRM solutions. In essence, Ensemble helps companies have their processes and company activities under control. Let's continue talking about why Ensemble is considered a great tool for managing processes and performance. The EFQM Excellence Model, a non-prescriptive business excellence framework for organizational management promoted by the European Foundation for Quality Management, helps organizations become more competitive, and you can achieve that goal with Ensemble. Policies that support strategy are implemented and monitored. Ensemble is designed and developed to provide the most appropriate value to the process stakeholders, so they are aware of the departmental and individual achievements. Another reason why our customers love working with Ensemble is that it is extremely easy to use, and at a glance, they can monitor the different KPIs. These are some of the benefits that Ensemble provides. It saves cost, time, and labor by detecting duplicate processes. Ensemble is very flexible. Companies can model the processes according to their preferred methodologies. You can define processes, activity steps, sources, inputs and outputs, and also the interactions or associations between them. With Ensemble, it is possible to create performance indicators to measure the performance and take action. Companies can identify possible risks in processes and activity steps, and they can add the necessary controls to manage those risks. If a company has to comply with a specific legislation, they could assign controls to the processes. An option would be to integrate Ensemble with a corporate risk module available in QDMS, our quality management system. Another benefit that Ensemble brings to the table is the resource planning. By identifying the resources used in the business processes, companies will be able to know the resources needed in every step, the associated cost, and the impact in the event of lack of resources. Finally, Ensemble's dynamic structure and its ability to adapt to a changing environment helps companies ensure their business continuity. Now that you know what Ensemble can do and its benefits, let's continue learning about the modules of the product. Ensemble is composed of 2 main modules, process management and performance management. The process management module is where companies define and model their processes, and the performance management module is where they monitor the performance. Let's start with the process management module. With this module, you can manage different locations or departments on a single platform, which is known as centralized management. Also, companies can identify the resources used in the different process steps and ensure that those resources are managed efficiently. For example, employees are considered resources. With Ensemble, we know who is involved in each step of the process, and we can extract reports with their job descriptions or the organizational units they belong to. We can track the participation of the employees every step of the way, from the reasons they give for process revisions, to the control of the improvements they perform, to approvals they make, or to the distribution decisions that they take. However, a company process doesn't have to start and end with employees. There can be customers and suppliers involved. With Ensemble, you can incorporate those relationships as input or output of the processes. Essentially, Ensemble helps companies comply with the process management requirements of the ISO 9001 or the ISO 16949 standards. Other features worth mentioning are the flexible infrastructure, or how easy it is to create processes with our web-based drawing tool. With Ensemble, we can model processes in multiple layers and group the activity steps, which facilitates the visualization of the process. We can create an interactive map to jump into the different branches of the processes. We can also assign resources to the different steps, manage the inputs and outputs, place control points or risk assessment actions, and even associate documents to a particular step. Finally, Ensemble offers rich reporting options within the process management module to increase the effectiveness of your controls. The following slides will give you an idea of how Ensemble works and especially how this particular module looks like. Here you can see the home screen, the view that you get when you log into the system with your username and password. This is where you can access all your pending tasks, like drafts of processes still on the making, processes that need to be reviewed and approved, or reminders to manually enter data about a performance indicator. There is a vertical menu on the left where you can access the scorecards, processes, indicators, or reports directly. On the bottom, the System Definitions tab is where users can access the process management and the performance management modules, alongside with user or system settings. Under the Process Management module, we can define processes and process steps. However, before users start designing them, it is advisable to configure the module first. For example, it would be a good idea to begin by entering or transferring the input and output channels, the company resources and departments, or the company documentation. There are two steps that need to be followed in order to create a process. The first step consists in filling out the process details section. As you can see on the slide, apart from giving the process a code and a name, selecting the type, or setting goals in the Details tab, there are many other tabs where we can enter more aspects about the process. For example, we could upload documents, determine the risks we could encounter, and set control points, select the resources involved in the process, define who is responsible of what, and the competencies needed for that, or even define authority and review matrices. Of course, it is not necessary for companies to fill all the available fields. We just want you to have the opportunity of creating a process with as much or as little information as you want. The second step of the creation process would be to start dragging and dropping the previously defined elements and establish the relationship between them. Typically, companies have their own particular way of designing processes. For example, they could associate the shape of a square to an activity, a circle to the start or end of the process, and use the shape of a diamond to indicate a decision, a question, or branch in the process flow. The editor in Ensemble is extremely easy to use, and it helps companies visualize their processes and manage them effectively. Let's continue with the Performance Management module. This module helps manage the performance of individuals, teams, or the company as a whole, and it also helps manage the goals or targets to achieve. It is possible to create a schedule to execute a performance review. For example, the goals can be tracked every month, every quarter, every year. In order to manage performance, we have to define the series of indicators to track. Those indicators will then appear in a balanced scorecard. Companies can customize the evaluation intervals for each indicator. For example, we could have a goal that consists in getting 100 new customers in a month. That value would be our target. We could also set an alarm value such as 50 customers. So once the month is over, we could see where we stand, in the critical range below 50, in the mid-range above 50 but below 100, or over 100. One option would be to design and execute a benchmarking analysis to evaluate how different organizational units or departments perform the same tasks and compare how efficient they are. If we were to associate indicators to company processes, we could follow the performance throughout the process. Thanks to the integration between Ensemble and QDMS, the system could create actions automatically in QDMS whenever an indicator states that a target hasn't been reached. Also, in terms of integration, Ensemble could pick up from another system that the company is currently using information about the alert and target values as well as the current values of the indicators, and then visualize them in Ensemble as a scorecard. If the data is entered manually in the system, the entry time that has previously been scheduled can be used to send reminders to users. Apart from the email reminders, users can also access their pending tasks from the home screen. Ensemble offers the possibility of creating reports and graphics about the performance of the company. The product offers different views that highlight various aspects of the key performance indicators. Let's take a look at some screenshots of the performance management module. Just like it was advisable to configure the process management module before starting to design a process, it is also a good practice to do the same for the performance management module. We can begin by determining the indicators, the units we'll use to measure them, and how frequently we'll perform the data entry. We can also decide the assessment method we'll follow and the data ranges. In the example I mentioned before, we defined 50 customers as the alert level and 100 customers as the target. After defining the indicators, we'll be ready to create a scorecard. Ensemble offers different ways of visualizing the scorecards. The example on this slide is the list view, where we see the different groups of indicators and two columns at the right side that represent the period-to-date and the year-to-date evaluations. That way, we can see how we are doing in this period, but also in overall. The period-to-date and year-to-date information can also be obtained as a pie chart, just like you see on this slide. And also as a bar graph. Ensemble offers many visualization options so that we can highlight and focus on different aspects. In essence, Ensemble is a tool extremely easy to use, specifically designed to help companies manage their processes and performance. On this last slide, you can see some of our references. Ensemble is a powerful business process management and performance management software. No wonder it has reputable international references such as the electronics maker LG, the global supermarket chain Carrefour, or the innovative glass manufacturer Schott. In addition, Ensemble has regionally well-known references in Europe and the Middle East. Thank you for listening to this presentation about Ensemble, our process, strategy, and performance management system. Make sure to check out our demo recording to watch how the system works in real time. If you're interested in the product, do not hesitate to contact us. We'll be happy to hear from you and answer all the questions you might have.